Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video, we're discussing Fatal Fried Rice, written by Vivien Chien. It's book 7 in the Noodle Shop Mystery series. It's a cozy mystery series, and one of my favourites, I have to say. And just like book 6 in this series, which I do have a video up on my channel, this book is also written very well. The characters are well written, the mystery is very good, and in this book, it takes our main character and a lot of the action away from the shopping village into an adult learning centre. I didn't have high hopes that that would work well in this book, but I was wrong. It did work well, and it opened up all these characters in this adult learning centre, and I think they're going to be there just for one book only, but they're great characters, and they're all written and described very well in this book. So the author's done a great job in giving us just one-time characters in this book at this adult learning centre. We start this book off with Lana sneaking off to a Chinese cooking course at an adult learning centre. She doesn't want anybody to know she's attending this course because her mother would have a fit. Her mother's embarrassed enough, I think, that Lana can't cook Chinese food. And Lana wants to learn in secret. She doesn't want anybody to know that she's sneaking off to learn how to cook Chinese when she manages a restaurant that cooks Chinese food. During the first lesson, everything's going well. They're learning some basics, how to cook fried rice. She's met a few people that seem friendly in the course as well, in the class. And then the instructor also seems quite friendly. As she's about to head off and go home, she realises she's forgotten something, so she heads back to the classroom. When she gets there, she sees a mess on the floor. There's food all over the floor, utensils and other things on the floor as well. And then she sees the course instructor lying on the floor. Unfortunately, the course instructor has been murdered. Lana screams. A janitor rushes onto the scene, sees what's happened, calls the authorities, and then Lana has to wait there and be questioned by the police. And unfortunately, this crime isn't in the same district or the same precinct as where her boyfriend works. So there's a different detective on the case this time. And this detective doesn't seem to like Lana that much. It's starting to think that Lana's a suspect because Lana's the first one to find the body. So Lana now has to work hard to clear her name, and she's got a fight on her hands because the detective is going to take a lot of convincing. The victim's name is Margot, and Lana's in trouble here because nobody really seems to know a lot about Margot. Margot kept to herself a lot, had no real friends, was very private, didn't share stories about herself to anybody. So she's trying to, find out, is there anybody that didn't like Margot? Did Margot have enemies? What's Margot's past? What was she up to in her free time? All those sorts of things. But nobody knows who she was. She does have a sister, and her sister owns a dry cleaning shop somewhere in town. So Lana wheedles herself into the dry cleaning shop, drops off some shirts, and tries to question the sister. And she ends up being caught by the detective while doing that. And that's bad news for Lana as well, because it makes the detective think that Lana's sneaking around trying to clear her name by talking to people who are linked to this crime. But one big thing I liked about this book is that Kimmy Tran, who's Lana's friend, and Kimmy Tran works in her parents' store in the Asia Village shopping centre. Kimmy Tran decides to help out Lana. Lana needs, a wingman, someone to come with her when she goes back to the adult learning centre, because she doesn't want to go there alone because she's afraid. Kimmy Tran is very loud, very outspoken. She can be a bit aggressive, sometimes overly aggressive, but she's all Lana's got. And it makes for some great scenes in this book because Kimmy Tran just questions people, goes for it full on, and poor Lana's sometimes trying to reel her in before Kimmy Tran offends people or gets him into more trouble. And it made for great fun scenes in this book. A lot of entertainment, a lot of excitement, and a lot of laugh out loud moments when Kimmy and Lana are going to different places and seeing different people while they're trying to sort out this crime. There is so much to like in this book. First, we have all new faces at the Adult Learning Centre and a whole range of suspects again, and all the suspects make sense. We have great red herrings in this book as well, and those red herrings make sense as well. So it's a well thought out mystery. It seems well planned, well plotted. This whole book seems well plotted in my opinion. Kimi Tran also, as I just mentioned, she's a great thing to like in this book. And I just loved her having more pages and more scenes in this book. And I hope that happens more in the series as the series goes on. Also, just that whole storyline about Lana trying to hide cooking lessons from her family, from her mother, that just added a lot to this book and added a lot to that dynamic between Lana and her mother. And it adds a lot of comic relief in this book as well, I thought. And there's a few scenes in this book where Lana's mother almost finds out what's going on, and Lana and her friends have to think on their feet quickly to convince Lana's mother that nothing's going on, that everything's perfectly fine, that hiding the fact that Lana's sneaking off here and there trying to learn how to cook. And I like that in this book. It just added so much, and I'm wondering if more moments like that will happen in this series, because if they do, I think it adds something to the story. When I finished this book, I thought it really showed just how talented Vivien Chien is, and it's showing that she's evolving as a writer. The mystery element is getting stronger and stronger with each book, especially this book and the previous book in the series. The mystery element is so strong and feels so effortless. Nothing seems forced, everything seems organic. And that's a great thing in these books, because sometimes the mystery element, some of the things that happen in the books can feel forced, especially forcing the characters, the main character, into different situations, sometimes dangerous situations, just because the author feels like they have to. But in this book, it all seems natural, and I enjoyed that, and I appreciated that in this story. Kimi Tran, and I think I've mentioned her in a previous video in this series, but I'm going to mention her again because in this book, she's more fleshed out, she has more pages and more scenes, and she's becoming a really great character in this series. I did enjoy her as a character anyway, but just because she's fleshed out more, you enjoy her that much more in this book. She's a great character, very strong, very opinionated, larger than life, but she's got a softer side as well, and a vulnerable side. And I think sometimes her bravado hides that vulnerable side. And that's the complexity about Kimi Tran. And that's written very well and given to us very well from the author. And I enjoyed Kimi in this book very much. Sabrina is an intern at the Adult Learning Center. And even though I think she'll be in the series just for one book, for this book, she's written as a very good character, and there's a lot of care taken with this character. She's very complex, there's a lot of light and shade with Sabrina, and a lot of suspicion with her as well, and that's where the authors used this character very well in this book, because in some ways you think Sabrina's guilty, then sometimes you think she's innocent. You're never sure until towards the end. And I enjoyed that in this story. I like when we have characters in mystery books where you don't know what's going on with them until the end. Detective Bishop is the main detective on the case, on the murder case, and he's the thorn in Lana's side. I thought it was interesting that the author decided to create him in the opposite way than Lana's boyfriend, who we usually have on the cases. So he doesn't trust Lana at all, and he has a different way of investigating things. It was just interesting to have that contrast. And I know why the author did that, or I think I know why the author did that, because it just makes Lana's boyfriend seem even better in the series. So I think that's the reason. And it gives Lana a bit of a challenge as well, because they have this guy who's almost like a soft villain. You know, he's not the villain of the piece, but he's a spanner in the works for Lana, and Lana has to work hard to convince him that she's innocent. So that drives a lot of the plot in this story, and he's used to good effect as well. Fatal Fried Rice is another good addition to this series. I rated it a 4 out of 5. I thought this mystery was written very well. The characters are written so well in this book, even the one-time characters. There's so many suspects and red herrings in this story, and they all seem so organic, nothing's forced. And I'm just enjoying Vivien Chien's writing style. I think it's just a great effortless writing style, and it makes the reading of these books just a joy. As I go through each book in this series, I'll do a video of each book and place that video on my channel. If you don't want to miss out on those videos, check out my channel and subscribe. There's also a Cozy Mystery playlist on my channel. It should be on your screen now.